So it's Victory Sunday for the Cleveland Guardians, and man, does it feel good. The Guardians took down the Tigers in Game 5 of the ALDS, and they did the impossible. They scored runs, not one run, multiple runs on Tarik Skubal. And what can you say? Every player did their job throughout the postseason, and ultimately a great team series win. But I do have to pick an MVP for the series, and I think there's no more obvious pick than Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas, of course, had two huge home runs for the Guardians, one in Game 1 and one in Game 5, that both capped off big five-running innings for the team. And of course, his grand slam in Game 5 sealed the series victory for the Guardians. Another huge key to this series was the bullpen, and it's the best bullpen in baseball. There's the core four guys, obviously, Tim Herron, Hunter Gaddis, Cade Smith, and Emmanuel Clase. Especially Cade Smith and Emmanuel Clase are some of the best relievers in baseball, and they really showed out. As Cade Smith went out there and really pitched well in every single game, coming in spots where maybe he's not super used to it, but he has kind of been the firefighter, get you out of tough spot guy all year, and he really just proved to be that again in this playoff series. Additionally, Eli Morgan and Eric Sobrowski really impressed me. I did expect them to be good, but I didn't expect them to be as good as they were in this postseason. And I think that they may have announced their name to a lot of the general public that maybe didn't have a closest eye on them during the regular season. Andrew Walters had a good game in his first playoff appearance. He obviously struggled a little bit in his second appearance, came out of the pen a little wild, but he's super young, just got called up to the major leagues. I think that maybe now that he has a taste of what an elimination game feels like, he might be a little bit more settled down next time he pitches. And how about Stephen Kwan? If you know me from TikTok, you probably know me as Stephen Kwan's #1 fan and the biggest agenda pusher for him. But what can I say more than I called it? Roll the tape.
I know what all the haters are saying. He's struggled as of late. But you know what? He's going to be coming off the IL. And you remember what happened last time he came off the IL? He was the best baseball player on the planet. And you have no evidence to prove to me that that won't happen again.
And I mean, once he came off the IL in the regular season, he was good, but he elevated to another level in this playoff series. He finished with a 524 batting average, an OPS of 1.137, and scored 6 runs for the Guardians in the ALDS. And on top of that, he made an incredible catch that didn't lead to a win, but nevertheless was pretty impressive. I know that some people are going to say that it wasn't a catch, but that ball hit his glove. I know I'm biased, but I think it's pretty clear. And also, shout out Brayan Rocchio. I mean, he deserves a lot of love for this playoff series. And I want to do another little personal victory lap because ever since I bought this card and posted a TikTok about it on September 1st, Brayan Rocchio has elevated himself to a whole new player.
I just got this Brayan Rocchio autograph. You know why? Because I still believe in Brayan Rocchio. If you still believe in Brayan Rocchio, comment, I believe in Brayan Rocchio on this post. There's not many of us left.
In September, he posted an OPS plus of 127, which is up more than 50 points from his season OPS plus of 76. That is a drastic improvement at the plate, and I think this card may have had something to do with it. Additionally, in the playoffs, he reached base 8 times, had 2 doubles, and an RBI with barely anyone on base for him. He also had multiple crucial defensive plays that I don't know where we would have been at without. Obviously, it wasn't all good. There were a few disappointments for me in this series. Chiefly, Jhonkensy Noel. He posted an offer. Bo Naylor did the same. And Andres Gimenez had a big hit in Game 5, but overall was quite the disappointment in the series. Also, the lack of Manzardo ABs really was something that disappointed me. I wanted to see more Kyle Manzardo at bats, especially how hot he was coming down the stretch of the season. One thing that I would like to see in the ALCS is David Fry in right field and Manzardo at DH. That wasn't a look that they went with at all in this series, and I don't know if it is because David Fry's injury prevents him from playing right field, but if he is healthy enough to play out there, I would like to have David Fry and Manzardo in this lineup, as there has been no production out of the right fielder. If it is Noel or Brennan, I think that David Fry would be the best option out there, as you would allow Manzardo to get some ABs as well. And then a few other bright spots of the series. Tanner Bybee, he gave you two really good starts, and that's all you can ask for out of him. David Fry had an amazing series, especially in that crucial game 4 with the home run in the sacrifice squeeze. Are you kidding me? And then Jose Ramirez, he really just acted as the rock in the lineup and provided a lot of stability there. He didn't have his best series, but Jose is going to be Jose, and teams are going to be afraid of him no matter what. But we're on to the ALCS. Bring on the Yankees. Now let's take a look at the Yankees series and what we can expect.
So first things first, let's look back at what the Yankees and Guardians did this year when they faced off in the regular season. This was the first game that the Guardians played the Yankees this year, and the Yankees got to Carlos Carrasco. Clark Schmidt got the win for them, and Clay Holmes got the save. I mean, I'm not going to put too much into this game, as Carlos Carrasco threw out the first pitch for the team in Game 5 of the ALDS. I really do not expect him to be activated for the ALCS. And then you also look at that Guardians lineup. A lot of names that aren't just going to be here. Tyler Freeman, Ramon Laureano, Florial. It looks a lot different than it is now. And then if we look at Game 2 of the series, this was the first game of a doubleheader. So a lot of things were going crazy here. Colin Poteet was the starter for the Yankees, and then Tristan McKenzie for the Guardians. Tristan McKenzie's had a wild year, regressed a lot, dealing with an injury. He's not on the roster, and I think this is just more of the same here. Just not going to really look like this in the postseason. And then that last game of the series, Tyler Beede got the win for the Guardians. Caleb Ferguson not on the team anymore for the Yankees. And, I mean, this was the Estevan Florial legacy game. He's not on the team anymore. But let's look at that most recent series for the Guardians against the Yankees, as I think this could probably tell us the most about what we can really expect going into this ALDS series. So, this one was a bit of a high-scoring affair. Rocchio had himself a game in this one. Maybe something we can expect, a home run, 3 hits. Aaron Judge had a game for the Yankees, and so did Soto. I also think that that's something that we're going to be able to expect going into this playoffs. I mean, this is shocking nobody. Aaron Judge, one of the best players in baseball. You're going to have to be wary of him. The same goes for Juan Soto, but I'm not going to spend too much time on these two, as pretty much everyone knows that they're going to be good. And I know Judge and Soto are going to get the majority of the attention, but one guy that I am most scared of on the Yankees on the offensive side is Giancarlo Stanton. And he isn't the player that he once was, the MVP for the Marlins, but at the end of the day, he can still hit bombs. And in the playoffs, I've said this before, home runs are more important than anything else, because it's one swing of the bat that can change the game completely. Stanton, he's going to be a home run threat every time he comes up. And with the Yankees having 3 guys that are really home run threats, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, and Juan Soto, it's going to be hard for the Guardians to silence all of them. But if they can silence 2 of the 3 in most games, I think that's going to be key. And then another X factor for the Yankees, we got Jazz Chisholm. He's a star player, and he's a bit of a wild card. You don't know what you're really going to get from Jazz on a night-to-night basis. He can hit home runs. He's got speed. He's a good defender. I mean, we'll see with him, but just someone that I'm not super excited to go against. But let's look at the pitching matchup that was used in this first game, as I think it's pretty interesting. Matthew Boyd made the start for the Guardians. He didn't have that great of a game, and that's something that could be a concern, as maybe he doesn't match up that well against the Yankees, but he's looked very good in the playoffs, in small doses especially. And then Luis Hill went for the Yankees. He was their Rookie of the Year candidate. I really don't know how he was considered a rookie this year, but that is neither here nor there. The Guardians got to him in this one, forced the Yankees to go to their bullpen early, and that's really what the Guardians are going to want to do in this playoff series. The Guardians bullpen is their strength. I believe that the Yankees bullpen is their weakness, but I do want to take a look at the Yankees bullpen because I do think that that could be a weakness for them in this postseason. And as we look at their active roster, at least as of the ALDS, there's not a lot of names in this bullpen that really jump out to me as good relievers. I mean, you have Clay Holmes. I think he may be the best reliever in this bullpen, even though he's not been the closer as of late. Luke Weaver has taken over those duties. Clay Holmes, I think that he's still the better reliever here, but he's been shaky as of late. So with him being your best reliever, it's not really a good look. And then if you look at Luke Weaver, he's their closer, but I'm having a hard time taking him seriously, as most of his career he was a below average starter. He's moved to the bullpen and he doesn't have an overpowering fastball. He's sitting around 95 miles per hour, which is pretty average. I know he's been good as of late, but this isn't like a lockdown reliever. I really think that the Yankees bullpen will be the reason that the Guardians can beat them in the ALCS. There were a lot of really good relievers on the Tigers, and the Guardians were able to get to them. This Yankees bullpen is going to be not as good as the Tigers at all. Ian Hamilton, I know Ian Hamilton has like one good pitch, but not someone I'm that concerned with. Tim Hill, yes, he's not going to give up a lot of hard contact. He's going to get a lot of ground balls, but that kind of plays into what the Guardians want to do. I don't know if Tim Hill will be that effective, as I still think that the Guardians are going to be able to get on base against him. Tim Mays is out there in the bullpen. Definitely a pitcher the Guardians are going to want to see, and I think that they could score some runs off Tim Mays if he ends up in a ball game. And here's Jake Cousins. He looks pretty good. We'll see in the playoffs. I'm not too scared of him. However, the reliever I may be the most scared of as a Guardians fan is Tommy Kahnle. I know he has zero aura. He's been pretty good this year, but the biggest thing for him is his changeup. He's a bit of a changeup merchant, and if you've been watching the Guardians, changeups are their kryptonite. They cannot hit them, and Tommy Kahnle will probably spam that changeup and get you some pretty good innings for the Yankees. Tommy Kahnle, definitely a guy I would look out for. And if the Guardians are able to get to him like they were able to get to Tyler Holton in the past series, I think that will be a key. And while I'm criticizing the Yankees bullpen, their starting rotation is pretty good. Garrett Cole, Luis Hill, Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt. I mean, that's 4 starters I do not want to see in the playoffs. I know Garrett Cole, though. Stephen Kwan has hit a home run off of him in the playoffs before. And, of course, Josh Naylor owns him. Garrett Cole is his baby son. Then we move on to Game 2 of this series, and this was Nestor Cortes versus an early Joey Cantillo start. Cantillo struggled in this one, but he's made a lot of adjustments since then. I know this is only just back to August, but he looks like a completely different pitcher. If he comes out against the Yankees again, I think that it could be a little bit of a shock, as they were able to get to him very easily in this start. I think that if he comes out for a relief appearance, a long relief appearance in this series, they might be seeing a very different Joey Cantillo than they have seen before. On the other side for the Yankees, Nestor Cortes. This was someone that didn't make the ALDS roster for the Yankees. If they put him on the ALCS roster, which I expect, I think that he's going to be crucial for them. He's another guy, while his advanced stats haven't looked great this year, his changeup is a nasty pitch. And I do think that that could be something that he could use to shut down the Guardians. He has in the past, and he's got a lot of pitches. He's a junk baller, somebody that I would not want to face. We'll have to keep an eye on the injury situation, but I do expect the Yankees to activate him ahead of the ALCS. And if we look at the box score for this one, another big Judge and Soto game. Not many other players on the Yankees really showing out, even with them putting up 7 runs off the starting pitcher. And then a quiet day for the Guardians, Jhonkensy Noel with the home run. Hopefully he can turn it around. And then we look at the final game of this series. We had Gerrit Cole going up against Gerrit Cole. Gavin Williams being the second Gerrit Cole. I know that is a hot take that I have, Gerrit Cole and Gavin Williams being about the same pitcher. But I do see a lot of similarities between the two. Big fastballs, giving up a lot of home runs. And even here, 5 walks for Cole, 4 walks for Williams. Williams didn't pitch in the ALDS. I think that he might get a start against the Yankees in the ALCS. We'll see what that looks like. If he can avoid giving up bombs to Soto, Judge, and Stanton, I think that he's in for a good start. But I do think it's likely that he gives up a home run to one of those 3 guys. And as much as I talk bad about Gerrit Cole, look at this. 1 hit that he gave up. And it was Steven Kwan. And the Guardians were in a tough spot at this time of the year. They were not hitting very well at all. But that bullpen that I'm a little critical of came in and gave up no hits in 3 innings as well. Tim Hill and Luke Weaver shutting the door there. You might hear all this and think, how can you be so confident in the Guardians being able to hit this pitching staff if the last time they faced them, they gave them 1 hit in 9 innings? Well, first off, the team has been much improved hitting-wise since this late August series against the Yankees. And I know I talked about him earlier, but Brayan Rocchio is someone that I think is going to be crucial in this series, adding that punch to the bottom of the lineup. And I don't know. Honestly, the Yankees, they could pitch really good. But I think that the Tigers pitching staff is so much better than the Yankees. And the Guardians were able to get to that Tigers pitching staff. I don't think that they'll have as much trouble with the Yankees pitching staff. And I don't know, maybe I'm just going off vibes and where the teams are at right now, but that's really all you can do in the playoffs. If the Guardians are hitting well against the Tigers, I think that they're going to be able to hit well against the Yankees. And it smells like a recipe for success to me.
If we're being honest, I was more scared of the Tigers than I am of the Yankees, but the Yankees are the Yankees. It's going to be a tough series once again, but I believe, let's go Guards.